Hello, everyone. How are you? I hope you're surviving this difficult times safely and sound. My name is Kawatani Takashi, Cross-Cultural Management Consultant. Welcome to the first session. Today, we'll be talking about the relationship between the Japanese seasons and the way we work. Seasons and the way we work, right? Let's review, share the screen right away. Okay, from my book, Winning Together at Japanese Companies. And for the detail of the background, the purpose of the series, please refer to the first episode of this YouTube. Step 1 from my book, let's get connected with Japanese. Okay, the first chapter is about seasonal and life events, expatriates myth. Well, not only expatriates, but every Japanese myth. Okay, 不妊者が恋しい日本の暮らしと年中行事となっております。Let me read this aloud. For centuries, Japanese have been practicing ceremonies to rejuvenate spirits and turn a fresh chapter in life. By matching ceremonies with different life stages and seasons, they give up the past with a good grace and renew enthusiasm for future. This tradition is manifested in how Japanese work, morning greetings, fresh start to enter holy labor, expressing public apology, because once you make a mistake, by apologizing sincerely, you're allowed to move on. And valuing routines, maintain form as ultimate accumulated excellence, doing away with formalities granted after work, release from tough work, and ceremonies and work this way are deeply connected in Japan. How does that sound? どうでしょうか? So the point here is we match ceremony with different stages of life and seasons, and we do so to renew enthusiasm for future, refreshing our mode and mood. And this tradition permeates into how Japanese people work, from Ohayo gozaimasu to 失礼します at 5 o'clock, and expressing public apology. Then we were allowed to move on. This also change, renewal of our mode and mood to move on. And routine is a repetition of the same thing. But through routine, we believe that innovation occurs because you notice a change if you are concentrated on the routine, right? If you're not concentrated on routine, if you think it's a dull process, no discovery, but the professional people find something new and different by committing themselves to meticulous attention to details in the same way over time again, doing away with formalities granted only after work. So 9 to 5 is a holy time, holy labor. So it's a public self and public life. After 5 until next morning 9 a.m., it's your private self. So you're allowed to do anything you want. So this way, those seasonal ceremonial ceremonies and work are deeply connected in Japan. Now let's have a look. I want you to have a look at this one from the internet. Okay. So what is this? This is a typical graveyard in the compound of temples. And we have 2 best timings to pay a visit to there. And that is the spring and autumn. In the spring, we have this special day called Shunbun no Hi, vernal equinox day. And also we have the same time in the autumn, autumnal equinox day. The equinox day is the time when the length of day and night equals, and that's when our ancestors in paradise Jodo finds it easy to come down to earth to greet us. So that's when we pay a visit to welcome the coming home spirits. Okay. In those 2 periods, it's called Ohigan. Shunbun no Hi, 1 day, previous 3 days, and after 3 days, combined 7 days. This period, both in spring and autumn. So 2 timings is called Ohigan. That's when we pay a visit and eat a special seasonal food like this botamochi or ohagi. And also this sekihan, sticky rice, and they are considered to drive away evil spirits. So we surrender it to the temple ceremonies. Okay, when relatives gather. Now, how about look at this? I think you know this 4 seasons in Japan: Haru, Natsu, Aki, Fuyu, spring, summer, autumn, and summer. But one season is divided into 6 sub-seasons from Rishun to Koku. Season Natsu, summer is also from Rikka to Taisho. Aki also 6 subdivisions. So 6 times 4 seasons is equals 24 seasons. And you can even divide that 24 into 72 sub-seasons in Japan. So each time we change a mode, a mood, wardrobe, seasonal food and harvests, and the way we work also. For example, the employees fresh out of college start working on April 1st. In many cases, don't they? And April is a time for new school term begins, right? And it doesn't match the international school timing. So we have a debate in Japan whether we should open September for international students to enter Japanese schools easily, right? So things are compartmentalized in Japan, and that compartmentalization has a meaning for a good reason. How about look at this diagram? Again, same Nijushi Sekki. Previously, I didn't explain this word. So 24 sub-season divisions is called 24 sub-seasons in Japanese Nijushi Sekki. Now, I want you to pay attention to Haru, spring season, and divide it into 3 timings. And each month, 15 days, divided into 2 timings also. Rishun start of a spring according to our calendar, although it's chilling, still snowing season. Shunbun is a center of the middle of the season. That's when the lengths of day and night equals, and we pay a visit during this Ohigan timing. Rikka, start of the summer. Geshi, middle of the summer. Rishu, start of the autumn. Shubun no hi, autumnal equinox day. Ohigan, yeah. Rito, Toji, and back to Rishun, 24 seasons, 1 year for the cycle. Now, let's have a look at this Chitsu season. You have noticed this word mushi doesn't mean insect alone, but it's about whole life springs out of the earth into our eyes, right? I want you to have a look at how this newscaster explains about 24 seasons and 72 seasons. So how about watch, please? It's in Japanese.
今日3月5日からは二十四節気の啓蟄、そして七十二候の巣ごもり虫戸を開くとなっております。なかなか読むのが難しい漢字ですけれども、二十四節気の啓蟄、そして七十二候、巣ごもり虫戸を開くと読みます。啓蟄の啓には開くという意味が、蟄は隠れる、閉じこもるという意味があり、地中で越冬する虫や動物のことを指しております。つまりですね、この二十四節気と七十二候、どちらも土の中で冬ごもりをしていた虫や動物たちが暖かさを感じて外に出てくる時期ということを伝えております。そして虫出しの雷、こういった言葉もあります。立春後に初めてなる雷は発雷または虫出しの雷と呼ばれております。虫出し、随分変わった名前ですが、実は虫たちが土から出始める啓蟄の頃は発雷の時期とも言われております。もう春ですよ、そろそろ出てきなさいと言わんばかりに、雷様は虫たちを土から誘い出すようです。 私たち人間にとっては雨や雷など単なる気象現象の一つに過ぎません。しかし春を待つ動物や虫たちにとっては自然界からの大切な合図なんだと思うと、今までとは少し見方が変わってくるかもしれません。虫さんが目を覚ます頃、二十四節気の啓蟄、七十二候巣ごもり、虫戸を開く、季節の情報をお伝えをしていきました。
Okay. Was very interesting. Even to Japanese, is very interesting to renew our memory of our traditions. Okay. Now, that was a seasonal change affecting our life cycle, life events, and ceremonies. But it permeates, as I said earlier, every aspect of our social and corporate life. I think you still remember Tokyo 2020 Olympic Games, Paralympic Games. And we have this famous kata of a judo or karate matches, right? So every movement has a reason. After this movement, you can make a smooth transition to the next movement. And it's a tested, accumulated excellence, the best, most effective and efficient movement as far as kata of karate are concerned, for example. And shrine, religious activity. The most famous Ise Shrine, they have this 1,300 years continuing ceremony called Shikinen Senku, regular shrine renewal or removal. There in Ise Shrine, very famous story is every 20 years, carpenters must replicate exactly the same styled buildings. They have to renew the same buildings and ornaments inside the buildings every 20 years. There's no design pattern, so the younger generation carpenter have to look from outside and then replicate exactly the same appearance and inside and structure, both buildings and ornaments inside. So doing the same thing for over 1,000 years is not dull and monotonous. To repeat and replicate exactly the same thing, or even just by observing from outside, calls for extreme attention and concentration and latest technology at that given point in time. So younger generation carpenters gather put their heads together and challenge the older generation work of art right in front of their eyes and try to catch up with even better quality, structure, and design. So this way, Professor Nonaka Ikujiro, the author of the knowledge creating company, the world bestseller, long seller of Hitotsubashi University Business School, calls kata a creative routine. 型がクリエイティブなルーティンだと、カッパされてるわけですね。これは素晴らしい言葉だと、翻訳だと思いますね。So by what do you call it, single-mindedly committing yourself to repeating the same process diligently, wholeheartedly, you will notice subtle changes, abnormality from the previous pattern. That's where new idea come up. And that might lead you to innovation, lead you to Nobel Prize in 30, 40, 50 years later. So repetition or kata is not dull or boring process. It's a very creative process, according to Professor Nonaka. Okay, well, and also talking about business work period, as I said earlier, when the Japanese people come to work 9 o'clock, they look very refreshed and a bit serious. The other day, one of my foreign friends told me they had a big party the previous night. The following morning, they report to work. So when they meet the Japanese, they enjoy together with the previous night. But the Japanese behave like nothing has happened the previous night. and uninformed foreign worker in Japan says Japanese are not passionate, totally misinformed. It is changing our mental mode from relaxed to full concentration. All right. Therefore, we get rid of the previous night memory from our brain and think nothing but the quality, achievement of the task of the day. So we tend to look not passionate, but our passion doesn't explode, but it implodes inside like Godzilla, right? So this even a change of a season, the climate affects a change of our clothes, the things we eat, the way we change our life events, enter the company, be in new school term, the way we greet in the morning, the way we have a drinking session. The previous day, we pretend as if nothing has happened the previous night. Change, constant renewal, renovation, and innovation. Coupled with our onsen hot spring resort climate, our body also renews every time we hops into the hot bath. All right, that's a hidden reason for our longevity of the Japanese people. So that's it for today. Today we talked about from my book, seasonal change and how it affects seasonal and life events, expatriates myth. I hope you find it interesting. And then in the next episode, I don't know what topic I'll be talking about. I'll look for it. So stay tuned and give comments and share your experiences. And I will mention that in the video as well. Thank you for watching today. どうもありがとうございました。See you very soon. Goodbye.